Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Happy Monday to you. And hey, we were right. I said to be prepared that in probably early this week or into the middle of the week, we would start to catch wind of what the next fusion or fragment champion is going to be. And that is exactly what we are getting. We're getting a glimpse into the next fragment champion that's going to be starting here soon in Strategos Island. So I want to do a first reaction. I pulled it up and I see that it scales with defense, but I have purposely not gone over the kit or read anything about what anybody else is saying. I haven't checked Reddit or anything. I want to give you an authentic first impression to get my opinion out there and let you know what I think here about the next fragment champion to come to Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, we've got a High Elf. Now, High Elves aren't really one of the factions that need champions. The Faction Wars is a little bit more realistic for them. They get the Arbiter reward, but honestly, their legendaries have been power crept a little bit. They don't have, the High Elves seem like one of these really good factions, just as people's first gut reaction, but they're really not that great in terms of the legendaries that they have. I mean, they have Arbiter, but other than that, it's like, you know, Lysandra isn't as good as she used to be. She's been power crept a little bit in the last 2 years. Supreme Elhain was added in there, but she's kind of a, you know, above average nuker. And then you just have a bunch of kind of filler champions that are decent in certain situations, but they don't have like a Kymar or a Siphi or a Duchess or something kind of crazy in there. They just have a bunch of middling legendaries. So hopefully we have a good addition coming here. And the A1 is going to be attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 35 that can book up to a 55% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. And then when countering attack, the chance increases to 50 and it'll book up to 70. So, okay, a pretty decently reliable CC provoke on the A1. It's okay. I mean, I would give this like a B minus. It's not insane. It's probably not going to do a ton of damage. It's not like a triple hitter or you know, attacking 3 times at random or anything. It's just kind of eh. And then for the A2, we've got a 4-turn default that books to a 3. AoE, and before attacking can book up to a 100% chance of decreasing duration of all enemy buffs. We're seeing that get added to the game a lot in terms of AoE buff manipulation, so it is going to be pretty good. It reduces duration by 1 turn, and then also can book up to a 100% chance of placing a decreased speed for 2 turns. That is a really good ability. You've got, when it's booked, you've got a 3-turn reliable AoE kind of stripping of buffs and lowering the speed. If that does any sort of decent damage, even if it's not great, this is going to be a really good ability. Anytime we can affect the opponent like that, where we're removing buffs from them and lowering their speed, that's going to be very good. So I would honestly give this like an A. And then the A3 is going to book to a 4-turn cooldown right here, and it's going to place ally protection on all allies except for this champion for 2 turns. That's how ally protection works. And then also a 60% increase defense on all allies for 2 turns while placing a I was wondering if the A1 was going to have some sort of self counter attack mechanic, and there we go. We've got it on the A3, and it's going to be giving it for 2 turns and then place a shield on only this champion. That's a little bit unfortunate, but yeah, you're going to get the AoE defense up and then also the ally protection while he's going to be doing some self counter attack and self shielding to help be able to handle the fact that he is doing the ally protect. So that is pretty good, and the value of shield is going to be proportional to defense. I really don't like when they do this, like it's going to be proportional. Like, okay, like what's that mean? Like, is the shield going to be like 5x his defense value, 3x, 8x? Like, what is the proportional there? That's something we're just gonna have to kind of see it on the test server and test it out. This ability could either be like, I mean, it's AoE defense up. That's nice. It's a little bit of self shielding and a little bit of synergy here with the A1. Depending on what this shield is gonna be, this is either gonna be like a B plus or like a C plus, somewhere in there. And then we also get a passive of whenever the champion is attacked, heal themselves by 1% for each 500 defense this champion has. That's kind of fun whenever attacked. And so that's like whenever attacked. That can be an AoE that hits the whole team. That can be a provoke that he has placed where it forces someone to attack him. So yeah, that's kind of cool. You get another source of self-sustain. And then heals all other allies under ally protection buff by 30% of this skill's initial heal. So you're also getting an AoE heal on the whole team. And for most of your like end of the mid game, early into end game, like for most of the kind of rounded out builds for this guy, I mean, we don't know the base, but probably going to be around 5k defense. So for every 500, that would mean you're getting this effect 10 times. So that would be a 10% heal on this champion, and then you're going to get 30% of that on all allies. So if you did have 5k defense, you would heal himself for 10k, and you would heal all allies by 3k. So it doesn't seem great, but it's whenever this champion is attacked, and there's no cooldown or anything. So like I'm thinking like, you know, AoE multi-hitters like Trunda does a double hitter or whatever, you're gonna get a 20k and a 6k on the whole team. Pretty fun sustain there, especially if it works with multi-hitters like that, because it says whenever this champion is attacked, and it doesn't say this can only be procced once per enemy skill or something. So yeah, it could actually stack up to being some pretty decent heals. And then thinking somewhere like the Hydra or Faction Wars as well on that PvE content can be a great tanky addition to any team. And then he does also get the aura here to boost ally accuracy by 60, and that's going to help for those early game, mid game players that are struggling to hit accuracy thresholds, especially places like the Iron Twins. You'll see a lot of people trying to get into that content and they can't quite hit the accuracy. You got to get to like 550 or whatever if you're trying to farm the Iron Twins. Can be a little bit tough, so it does help that he does have an accuracy aura to boot here with the kit. So all in all, in terms of first impressions, I would say pretty solid. I think he's a great addition for anybody who's early game or mid game. Obviously, once you get into the end game, you need to get really good champions to slot into those very often used roster slots. But I think all in all, he is a pretty solid addition to the game. And now, again, we could see the base stats. He could have 87 speed, and he could have some just crap base defense. He could have like 1100 base defense. He could have, you know, 18k HP. Like they could go rogue and ruin him with the base stats. But as long as the base stats aren't some outlier, I'm going to say most early game and mid game accounts should try to acquire him if he's realistic. I don't think he's going to be S tier. I don't think he's going to be some god tier champion. I don't think he's going to end up being like a Pythion or a Mighty Uko or something like that in terms of a fragment or fusion event. I just think he's going to be solid. He's going to be a sturdy tank you can slot in, who is self-sufficient, does a little bit of CC on the A1, can AoE decrease speed, and give you a little bit of consistent source of healing in there. He's just going to kind of be a well-rounded, decent champion to throw in a team. Okay, I believe this guy is going to be the 221st legendary added to the game. I could be off by a couple, but it's somewhere around there. So where would he rank just off the top of my head, as long as his base stats aren't some weird outlier? 221 legendaries. He's probably gonna be in like the 60 to 100 range, somewhere in there. Why is that so hard to read? It's a different color than the backdrop. I just cannot get this to look how I want. I can't get anything to read well. So he's the 221st. And yeah, I'm going to say he's going to rank somewhere. Even that's hard to read. It's just a bad color for a backdrop there. Yeah, I'm going to say he grades out somewhere in that 60 to 100 range. So not going to be S tier. He's going to be borderline A tier. Like I would say your S tier is like your top 25, 30 champions. And then your A tier would be like the next 35, 40 after that. So your top like 75, 80 would be like the S and A tier legendaries when you have that many of them. So yeah, he'll be middling around like A minus, B plus, and he'll be a lot better for the early game to mid game, where he'll be like an A minus, and then in the end game he might be a B minus, kind of a he's all right kind of champion for those accounts that are a little bit more end game. Like if you can already do Nightmare Hydra and stuff like that, this guy probably isn't going to bring anything super new or exciting or crazy to your account. But for those that are still rounding out their rosters, like the kind of people that haven't finished Faction Wars yet, I think he is going to be a pretty solid addition to throw on your account. And as always, I will get a poll over on the community tab of this channel so we can see if you agree or disagree with me, and you can voice your opinion. We'll put over there. Now, the YouTube polls, they only let me do 4 choices, so I can't do like S, A, B, C, F, and throw a bunch of different tiers out there. I have to kind of mix and match or combine, or just do S, A, B, C, or whatever. But I'll do my best to throw up a poll over there on the community tab, and then we'll also talk about your sentiment as a community and how you feel compared to me and all of that. So that is my first reaction on the new legendary Strategos Islan that is going to be coming to the game here this week as a fragment event. And I appreciate all of you. Hope you have an amazing week. I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace.